So without further ado, I'd like to call up our first presenter of the night, who is Instnt.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sunil Madhu. I'm the founder and CEO of Instnt, and with me is Mimi Salcido, my co-founder at Instnt. Instnt is a seed stage company funded here in New York, and what we do is customer onboarding as a service. It's a problem that I ended up seeing in my previous company, Socure, that businesses spend millions of dollars of operational and CapEx expenses every year, capital expenses each year, just trying to build up technology stacks for risk and compliance to sign up customers. And they tend to bring together a variety of point solutions and data providers to be able to sign up good people. And despite their millions of dollars of spend, businesses are essentially rejecting up to 40% of their top line. And that's fundamentally because of the fact that piecing together a lot of different technologies adds a lot of cumulative false positives, and the demographic today with millennials, etc., are credit thin file. So despite the best efforts of these businesses are rejecting good people for the wrong reasons and losing top line and spending a lot of money on the bottom line. And the other side of this, as consumers, we've all seen this, sign up hell, right? You ever wondered where you open up a credit card at the Gap, and then 6 weeks later you go to Neiman Marcus, and you apply for a store card there, and you fill out the form all over again? Well, both of those cards from Gap and Neiman Marcus are underwritten by the same issuer, Synchrony Financial. So despite the fact it's the same underlying risk system, we're being asked to sign up over and over again. So these are kind of related to each other. So at Instnt, we decided to solve for this problem by offering to buy out up to $100 million of fraud and allow companies to shift fraud loss liability wholesale to our company, while we give you a guarantee that if you sign with us, we'll reduce your decline rate by 50%. So if you're declining like 20% of your good customers for the wrong reasons, we'll reduce it to 10% or better, while we absorb or allow you to shift up to $100 million of fraud loss liability to Instnt. So this is kind of a disruptive technology, but we've tried to make it really simple. We'll show you in a couple of minutes how we actually do this. Mimi, would you like to bring up the demo? That isn't the demo, but all right. So when a business comes up and signs up with Instnt, we actually make an actuarial decision as to whether we can underwrite your risk or not. And if you get past that, we ask you to go through a 3-step flow in our dashboard. The first step in our dashboard is to actually create a sign-up page. Everyone knows this. For every mobile app, every website, you have a sign-up page with a sign-up form. So Instnt actually walks you through a process of recreating the sign-up form just like you have on your existing websites and mobile applications. It's a drag and drop interface. You can literally drop the fields that you want to collect the data for from the customer signing up. We've already collected a bunch of fields from financial institutions and e-commerce companies and so on that are typically collected in the sign-up process. And you literally recreate the sign-up page visually. That's step 1. Let's go to the next step. So here's where the meat of the magic happens. You configure in Instnt where we should send the good customers who are accepted, the customers who are declined because of risk, and the customers that need additional vetting for review. So you just need to tell Instnt where in your business process Instnt should send the good customer once they have signed up, which could be a welcome page or a credential assignment page so they can sign in. Or if you're a lender and you want to do an actuarial risk decision, that's the page that you send the person to. Well, you put that in the accepted customer field, and you do the same thing for where we should send the people that are being rejected, and finally where we should send people that need to be reviewed. Additionally, you can ask Instnt to do document verification. Often in a lot of applications, you need to verify people's driver's licenses or passports and other types of stuff. So if you want that, you just check the radio button there. And then if you want us to do KYC compliance processing, you're a financial institution and you need to meet the regulatory requirements, you can check that. So we've essentially turned KYC, which if many of you are familiar with that, in the industry, people have to create all these complex waterfalls and if-then logic. Well, in our system, you don't need to do that. You just need to check off a box. And the last step is you basically specify the encryption key you're going to use to encrypt all of this information. And so all of the data that we process for that user, your customer, is encrypted with your key, and all of that data is injected into the destination that you configured earlier. Now, once you've done these 3 steps, you get to embed us. You're ready to integrate in literally 5 minutes. The easiest way of integration is copy this piece of HTML onto your website. Now, when you do that, wherever you paste this HTML in your web app or website, and for native applications, we have native SDK libraries as well, and we have integration options for other platforms too. But in the simplest form, when you take this code and you paste it somewhere, wherever you paste it, your sign-up page that you created earlier appears. So the only impact to your application when you use Instnt is you turn off your current sign-up page. That's it. There is no further impact to your enterprise business logic, your workflows, people, process, etc. So let me show you what this looks like in an actual fake bank. So we created this fake bank site, and when you go to sign up, we've created a form for that bank. And it's still loading, sorry. There you go. So there's that sign-up page you created earlier. You fill out the details as the consumer normally would. So the consumer never leaves your brand experience. They never leave your website. They never leave your mobile application. You still control the brand experience for your customer. The customer fills out the form. We're all used to seeing this. We do this process. Accept the terms of service, create the account. And there you are, you're inside this bank, you've signed up. Now, we're going to show you something interesting called single sign-up. So, let's say that after you set up this account and you enrolled into this application, a few weeks later, you end up visiting an e-commerce site. So, here's Apple Mart, an e-commerce site. I'm going to sign up into Apple Mart. Now, when I do that, guess what happens? Instnt recognizes that you've been verified before, you've been enrolled before, and you're de-risked. So you no longer have to fill out sign-up forms anymore. We turn sign-up into a one-click auto-enrollment process. As you can see, there's a little innocuous logo for Instnt, and that tells you what we do. And if you kind of expand that section there, it tells you that this is the type of information this website requires for you to set up an account. Do you consent to this information that was attested to be sent to that website? So you can simply auto-enroll by clicking yes. And what Instnt has done behind the scenes is Instnt has taken your pre-verified information and injected it directly into that application, allowing that application to know who you are, how you're being de-risked, and therefore service you. So you don't need to sign up anymore multiple times. You only sign up once in Instnt. You never have to sign up again, potentially. This we call single sign-up. And we're going to do this for brands across the internet. So that when you end up installing a mobile application, but you've enrolled somewhere on the web, and you launch your mobile application, you no longer have to sign up for every single app you install. And in the meantime, what we've done for the business is we've reduced their decline rate and increased their top line by at least 50%. We've eliminated at least 30% of the CapEx and OpEx cost, and we've shifted up to $100 million of their loss on an annualized basis to our business. Fraud is no longer your problem, it is ours. You just worry about servicing the good customers frictionlessly. That's Instnt. Thanks very much. We're raising capital, we're looking for employees, we're looking for customers. So if you need us, come and find us, have a beer, and chat. Thanks. Some questions and answers. Questions? Yes.
So a situation where somebody's already in your system,
Yes.
and they move.
Right.
And now they have to update their information across all these sites.
So-
Are you handling that?
Yes. So part of this is the future we believe is self-sovereign identity. That is, we get control of the attributes and the data we share with everybody. Today, that's not transparent. We don't know who has what, when someone's breached, what data, so we have no idea. But we're going to allow you to do that because we're also creating essentially a web app, which will eventually be a mobile app that you can simply go to. And you will see in a single dashboard all the brand icons you've signed up at. If you click on any of them, you'll actually see what data they have. And we'll provide you the ability to revoke the data if you want by switching a little switch. And we don't need blockchain for any of this stuff, FYI. Yes?
For KYC, do you have to do it again and again?
No. So we cannot shift regulatory compliance liability because that comes with criminal consequences, $200 million fines, jail time, if I let a terrorist into your business. But what we can do is we can provide you the necessary information to allow you to remain compliant without you having to do the work yourself. So we will call the credit bureaus, we will meet the requirements of the US Patriot Act and GLBA and FCRA, et cetera, and we just package up that data, encrypted with your information, your keys, and inject that into your application so your application can continue to own the customer, but the application doesn't just simply get the information they typed into the form, but it's enriched with a lot of data and metadata about the application's user, the behavior, the device, how they were KYC'd, et cetera, and the waterfall that was used for KYC. So you don't really need to bother working with waterfalls and tweaking things anymore because we have an AI behind this engine that knows the right waterfall to apply for your business and your industry, and it'll pass compliance muster. I can assure you that because my company that sort of did identity verification, Secure, powers the top 5 banks in the country, along with numerous other brands. So I've done this before. Yes?
Congratulations, by the way, on all the progress. How do you do the hardcore underwriting and fraud detection? Because actually...
So I'm licensing the fraud engine that I've built before and sort of enhancing it. The fraud engine I've built has accuracy rate of 1 to 0.3, meaning for every one bad guy we genuinely stop, there's 0.3 false positives or better. The best we've seen in the market is 1 to 5. The worst I've seen is 1 to 20 or more. So it's really that engine we're using underneath that powers all of the financial institutions, the largest e-commerce companies in the world, et cetera, is powering this. It is being trained on a continual basis by some of the major labels in the industry. It's a fully unsupervised learning AI. It's the most accurate one in the market. Google, IBM Watson has gone up against it and lost. We were over 30% accurate than those engines.
One more.
Yes.
How do you take on the liability, and do you handle synthetic fraud?
So we will cover synthetic fraud, third-party fraud. So the question was, how do you handle liability? It's a good question. So behind us, we've essentially attached insurance schedules. So when we sign a business up, we're treating the business as a managed risk asset, and we're basically assigning that business based on your loss liability to a pre-priced risk schedule. We have 3 schedules. Low risk for businesses that lose up to $1 million a year, medium risk for businesses that lose up to $10 million a year, and high risk for businesses that lose up to $100 million a year. So depending on your existing business and your existing losses and your fraud capture rates, et cetera, these are things we ask for before we underwrite the risk. Depending on that, we will attach the appropriate risk schedule, the priced risk schedule, to our contract. So if you're losing, say, $1 million a year today in fraud, and you're spending $500,000 doing all of this shit yourself, so you're $1.5 million of cost to manage your own risk and compliance stack, we will cover you for $2 million of loss, increase your top line decline rate by over 50%, boosting that. So roughly for every dollar of spend in Instnt, you'll get $2.50 of value. Thank you.